All right, welcome to the Sci-Fi Geeks Club number 1. In this first meeting of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club, will it please come to order? You guys,
maybe. Yes, absolutely.
okay.
You need a gavel.
I do. Well, there's going to be a gavel
pow.
in the produced intro, in the produced music. There will be a gavel, so we have to pretend that we just heard the gavel. So, welcome everybody. I'm Dave Nelson. Joining me tonight are regular hosts Brad Ludwig, Anessa Moyens, and Matt Stein, all regulars here on the Galactic Netcast. And we want to welcome our guest geek, Mr. Bill Meeks. Hey, Bill.
Hello, how's it going, Dave?
Good. Well, okay. For people that don't know who you are, tell us where you're from and what you do.
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I do a lot of stuff. I refer to myself as a general maker of stuff. I do a lot of video work. Most people, if they know me, they probably know me from my video work. But I also, I do other stuff. I play music. I do a little writing here and there. You can find all of that, and I'll say it right up here at the top at meeksmixmedia.com. Also, and there's a lot of free stuff there, like free music, font packs, stuff like that. So. Okay.
Your videos are outstanding. I've seen a lot of good ones, and you're an author. Don't forget that.
Yes.
You have a book series now, right?
I do. Nice. Dog Boy Adventures. Right there. There's the new one.
Ooh.
Just came in today.
That
Danger on Liberty Pier.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basic. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, basically, Dog Boy is a Bronson Black, a 13-year-old superhero who uses both Harry Houdini and Harry Potter kind of magic to fight crime. That's the basic premise of it. But, cool. Yeah, I do have to say, in promotion of the last Dog Boy book, Dog Boy Den of Thieves, Dave recorded a wonderful little voiceover for me that I used in a couple of videos and advertising on my podcast and stuff, and I don't know, every video I've ever used Dave's voiceover for has just turned out gangbusters. So.
Thanks, man.
I can see Dave's head getting bigger from here.
Yeah, so we better stop. Hey, let's talk. You have a podcast too, right?
Yeah. It's basically a fan podcast for the ABC show Once Upon a Time that I co-host with Anne-Marie Desimone. It's called Greetings from Storybrooke. It's a lot of fun. We're on hiatus right now, so it's kind of every couple weeks we get together and just find something to talk about, whether it's just reading lists or emails or whatever. But once we're in the show, and we're doing 2 episodes a week because they have the spin-off Once Upon a Time in Wonderland now. Yep. So, in an hour and some change per episode of television talking about it, which is much longer than the actual episodes, oddly.
All right, so let's get into the show. I did the call to order. This is a club, so we are going according to club protocol here. We did the introduction of the guests, and normally we would have we would read the minutes from the last meeting, but this is the first meeting of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. So let's move on to new business, and since this is a club, we have to elect officers. Did you guys know that? We had to get officers.
What?
Well,
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
So normally in clubs we have the president, the vice president, the secretary, and treasurer. But I thought that we could spice it up a little bit and come up with some more interesting names. So how these grab you? Supreme leader. You guys like that?
yep.
Yeah, it's okay.
Slightly pretentious, but we'll run with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emperor. Okay. Emperor, Chancellor, and Viceroy. So the Supreme Leader would be President. I'm thinking the Emperor would be Vice President. Chancellor, Secretary, and Viceroy would be Secretary. So just before you guys pick your whatever you want to be, I'm going to give myself Supreme Leader because I came up with this podcast. So I'm going to elect myself Supreme Leader, but who wants to be Emperor?
I elect Matt.
Oh, what? As long as being emperor means I can still drink during the shows and generally give you guys all our time, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so Emperor is vice president, And normally vice presidents don't do much, so that's perfect for you.
That's me.
All right. I mean, look at Biden. He just sits there and grins. So.
He looks good doing it, though.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know. I don't even know what he looks
Classy.
Yeah, nice and tan, doing that whole kind of thing.
like.
Who wants to
I'll
be
ride
Chancellor?
the train.
Chancellor, Anessa, or Brad?
I'll be Chancellor.
Okay.
Oh, his handwriting's terrible.
I need to write these down.
I loathe meeting notes, so no.
Let's see, Brad and Anessa. So, Chancellor, Brad, you need to take notes.
I'm going to cheat.
Well, your notes are already taken for you, basically, because...
I know!
Show notes. They're already taken, so
Yep.
done and done. Okay. So, let's move on to new business. And the new business means the sci-fi news from the week. And Super Bowl, which one was it on Sunday? What number was it?
48.
Love
Is it 48?
You know,
Oh,
this is why
48,
I shine. Because...
LXVIII.
Because Matt is the only real non-geek here. Matt is like, the rest of us are like sports ball. What's that? But Matt actually like normal stuff, sort of.
For the most part.
I hear it.
You darn normie.
Yeah.
And I just illustrated how much of a geek I am, because you said, Dave said, well, this is where Matt shines, and Matt's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, LXVIII. I quick spit out the Roman numerals because I know how to do 48 in Roman numerals, but Matt actually meant, the football game itself.
So it's 48. It was Super Bowl 48.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
All right, so there was
I've kissed a girl. I know, right?
All right, so there were 3 movies that premiered their trailers that I know of. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Transformers Age of Extinction. So what did you guys think? Did you catch those during the game?
I haven't seen the Transformers one, but I really loved the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer. It just looks so kind of cartoony, which is good for a really good fit for Spider-Man. And I don't know, I kind of like the whole kind of mythology building thing they're doing with what it looks like they're doing with the Osborn clan too, which is interesting.
Yeah, there's a real different take on this Spider-Man as opposed to the last movie Spider-Man. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't know. I liked it overall. At first, from the outside of the first movie, it appeared like it was going to be like this really dark, like Dark Knight Spider-Man or whatever. But no, it was really funny. And what's his name? Andrew Garfield was really funny in the suit too. Which, as much as I love the Tobey Maguire movies, was something I thought was really lacking, was Spider-Man's sense of humor, because I think in like Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2, they show him like sitting down in his basement watching Don Rickles routines to kind of learn how to be a smart aleck. And that just wasn't in the Raimi films, but they really pulled it out for Amazing Spider-Man 1, and it looks like 2 is going to be even more so, especially with like the weird, awkward run-ins with Aunt May almost finding his suit and things like that. So it looks fun.
So, Matt, Brad, Anessa, Bill, what do you guys? Are you worried that there are too many bad guys in this new Spider-Man
Yes.
movie?
Has Joel Schumacher taught us nothing?
See, I'm kind of the opposite opinion. I think, the more the merrier. I would like to see a superhero movie come out there that had, like, 40 villains in it. That, like, there's one big villain, like, maybe like a Nightfall or something, if you remember that Batman story from back in the 90s where, Arkham Asylum busts open and he has to take down all of his greatest villains in one night. I would love a movie like that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm so familiar with the characters, but I never really feel that sense of fatigue when it comes to multiple heroes. I did think Spider-Man 3 had one villain too many, and that was Venom, but I just don't like Venom. So it's like... The problem always runs into you've got a finite amount of time. You've got an hour and a half to 2 hours to tell the backstory
I mean, I being a huge comic book nerd, and you can't. I've got 6,000 comic books sitting behind me, Bill. Again, I'm surprised I've kissed a girl, but what you've got 2 hours to get some backstory and some interest into these villains, and they just don't take the. You've got to pander to like in the case of Amazing Spider-Man here. You've got to tell more of the Peter Parker story. You've got to do him dealing with keeping a secret identity from Aunt May. You've got to deal with him and his relationship with Gwen Stacy, and now you've got to we're introducing Harry Osborn. We're introducing Electro, Max Dillon, and we're introducing Rhino, who's going to be showing up.
And Norman.
Norman, and now they're going to have a little bit with the inventor of the creator of the Spider Slayers.
Alistair Smythe. I think who was that? B.J. Novak?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I understand that they're trying to sow some seeds, but and maybe this is all out of context. But I mean, if you're just going to get brief appearances, you're going to see Doc Ock's arms, you're going to see the Vulture's wings, you're going to see all these things. That's fine. But if you're going to try to do, cram everything together like they did in the Batman film, where we had Poison Ivy for a brief moment, and then we had more Arnold Schwarzenegger and bat nipples than a human being could stand. So
nobody likes bat nipples, that's for sure.
No,
I love bat nipples.
I don't want to see spider nipples either. So.
No, see, I think the thing is a lot of superhero movies. The way they approach it is the first movie is the hero's origin story, and then every consecutive movie after that is the villain's origin story, or the villain's biggest story. And there's a lot of villains in this movie, but from what I've caught from interviews, trailers, all that kind of stuff, the way they're going to approach it is this is basically, they're doing that. It's basically Electro's story, but it's also tied into Spider-Man's origins and Oscorp in general, and I think all of the villains, it seems like they're kind of going to be growing out of Oscorp. Like, I don't think, I bet you Rhino is going to be like the first fight scene in the movie, and then they're going to go away with him and move on to other stuff.
See,
and then,
but they did that with Sandman, with the third one. Sandman could have been, the third Tobey Maguire film. You could have had Sandman be the villain. You actually developed it enough where you were interested in him. He was a tortured character. He got kind of shafted and got these powers, blah, 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 and then his child. And then he disappears, and then all of a sudden it's a Venom film. And it's like, what? Why?
Well, from what I've heard, that was more studio meddling than anything, because Raimi didn't even want to put Venom in it at all, and he just wanted to focus on Sandman, because he's an old Silver Age guy, right?
Sure.
So he was working his way through all the Silver Age villains, and the studios they wanted a Venom movie because they figured it would allow them to print checks, and it kind of killed that portion of the franchise instead.
Yeah, it totally did.
All right, so let's move on from Spider-Man to Captain America. What did you guys think of that trailer?
Yes, more please.
Anessa, let's check in with Anessa. Do you have any thoughts on this? Did you see it? Did you like it?
Well, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I've seen the Captain America trailer for Winter Soldier, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm excited.
What was your favorite part of it? Did you have one?
Captain America.
He is dreamy.
He is dreamy. But no, like the thing that I really like about Captain America, though, is he's from a different time, and so his views on everything is not what we make of it. Because in the trailers, you have other people saying, well, in order to make things better, you have to destroy the old stuff and build up from there, and so you have to make these changes. And he's like, there's something wrong with this picture, and so he can actually see the flaws in the way in which we think these days,
and
versus like his old time thing. And so I really dig that difference between Captain America and the modern day mindset. So when I say Captain America, it's not so much because he's dreamy, it's just because the way he fits into like the timeline.
And I think that's the angle that they're taking with the story, too. It sounds like there's going to be a conflict between his values and the values of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is that what you guys have read into it, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know when they were doing the Avengers, there was talk of a scene they shot where Captain America goes to see his girlfriend from the Captain America movie, and she's old in the hospital, all that kind of stuff, and it got cut for time. And I was like, that's the interesting way to go with this character. And as everyone else has said, that appears to be the way they're going with it. It's going to be this guy out of time, everything he's ever known is gone and dead, including his ideals, and he has to kind of reconcile that while being an effective hero and fighting the Winter Soldier.
And he didn't have time to really deal with that in the Avenger. They just said, "Hey, we have this big bad coming. Can you help?" kind of thing.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And
Well,
it will be interesting to see, because the Winter Soldier looks like it's Bucky Barnes, who disappeared at the end of Captain America.
That's the rumor. Yep.
And,
Spoiler alert.
well, yeah.
Actually, the Winter Soldier is actually trivia being played by the guy who played the Mad Hatter on Once Upon a Time. So.
Oh, nice. Nice. So it'll be interesting to see, the Man Out of Time story, but also it'll be interesting to see how. I want to know more about Robert Redford's character. It looks like he's like the deputy director of S.H.I.E.L.D. almost.
He's the guy supposedly that trained Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
All right. So, do you guys want to touch on Transformers at all? I know Bill didn't see the trailer for that. Did anybody else?
I saw the trailer for it today, and what I told one of our TAs was I don't really have any real interest in seeing Transformers because I kind of quit at the first one.
Yeah,
I
I'm
quit
the
while I
same
was
way.
ahead, from what I hear. So
Yeah, you didn't really miss much in the next two then, because Michael Bay hasn't really he hasn't really added too much to that plate, to that Transformers plate. In my opinion, at least.
I liked John Turturro in the first one, but that was about the only thing that impressed me with it. So.
His character was pretty cool.
Matt, you were going to say something?
No, but I probably could. Transformers is really the only one out of the three of these I have any sort of background on, but I agree with Anessa. Like, after the first one, they all went downhill, and by the time the third one came out, I felt like I just watched it on principle. Like, I've come this far, and I'll probably do the same thing with this one. But
I'm all in. I gotta keep watching.
we gotta keep going at this point.
That whole sunk cost fallacy, like you've put so much time in that you feel obligated, even though you're not having a good time.
Exactly.
I'm just praying that Grimlock doesn't suck, because Grimlock is my favorite Transformer.
I like Grimlock.
Which one's Grimlock? Has he been in the first three movies, or is he
No.
No.
No. He's a Dinobot. He's the Optimus Prime.
Grimlock.
Yeah, he's the Optimus Prime essentially of the Dinobots.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know anything about Transformers. That was right after me. That was right after I got to a certain age where I stopped watching cartoons. So.
See, I watched the original, but I never got into like the whole Beast Wars and all the various spin-offs they had. But I guess the continuity is just like very, very dense. Like even more so than like something I know a lot about, like DC Comics or something. It's like incredibly dense and so many variations, but they all fit together somehow.
I was more of a Voltron, and what was the big ship that Earth discovered? The aliens left behind. What was that called? Somebody help me out. Brad?
I don't know.
Robotech. Yeah. I was more of a Robotech guy. All right, so I know in the doc we were going from that to Star Trek, but I think we should segue into the Man of Steel casting of Jesse Eisenberg and Jeffrey Irons. I know, Bill, you're the world's biggest Superman fan, so what do you think of this casting?
I like it. I think, obviously a lot of people have been making the Social Network comparison as far as like the type of character that Lex Luthor is, and I can totally see that. But I think it's good. Like my initial impression was, wow, he's so much younger than Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman, right? Turns out they're the same age, and they're both younger than me, and that really cheeses me off.
Yeah.
It's the first, because I didn't realize that when I saw Man of Steel, but it's the first time Superman's been older than I am, or younger than I am, rather. So it's kind of weird. But no, I really like it. Like a lot of people are, I don't know, people like to complain for complaining's sake sometimes.
Oh, really?
I think.
Really?
Yeah,
People like to complain. I had no idea.
Especially on the internet, if you can believe it. I know it's shocking.
When did that start?
Oh, I don't know, about 1986 or so. No, but I like it. I think he'll probably end up doing a good job. I'm really hoping they keep Lex bald though, or at least make him go bald throughout the course of the story, because a lot of times it seems they try to change things up for change's sake, and Lex should be bald. And as he did in All-Star Superman, he should pencil on his eyebrows when Superman's not looking because he's so vain. But yeah, I really like it. And Jeremy Irons, I don't think, although I heard some people complaining about it, but I don't think that's a very controversial choice. He's an older actor. He has the chops. He has the street cred. He's going to make a great Alfred.
He's British.
He's British. Yeah, that's requirement number 1 of 2. Second, be kind of a bad egg every time.
Well, the thing about Alfred, and Bill's in the know on that, is Alfred actually worked for the Secret Service for British intelligence. So I mean, Alfred needs to be a bit of a badass too. So I think Jeremy Irons can most certainly pull that off.
Scar, right? So.
Exactly.
So how do you guys feel about them bringing in a lot of characters as well? Batman, Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to let you continue after that, so.
That was very kind of you, Bill. It depends on the film they're trying to do, and I'm concerned, especially once you get to, you've got 3 major characters. I mean, if it were to stop at Lex Luthor, and I can already tell you right now that they are not going to give much screen time to Wonder Woman. They're just not. You've got Batman and Superman. Wonder Woman's going to show up, hi, and then she'll be done.
Well, I think it's going to be a launching pad for her own movie, right? That's going to be
kind of
an introduction, a backdoor to her own movie.
Okay, anyways, so...
I'm kind of with you though. I'm not. It's not a sexist thing at all. I just don't like anti-heroes, and I think Wonder Woman's kind of an anti-hero because she's, a warrior kind of thing. Like I would love for them to have Batgirl in the movie. I would even the Oracle variation on Barbara Gordon. That would be great. Black Canary would be really cool. I'm not a big fan of Wonder Woman, but the woman they got to play her, she seems okay, right? I mean,
yeah. I guess to counter what you're saying, Wonder Woman is the most recognizable of the female characters, just shy of Supergirl.
Yeah, this is true. Thanks to Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Has a lot to do with it.
So, I mean, if they're finally going to get off their duffs and make a Wonder Woman film, yeah, I can see them using this as a launching point, but she is not going to get much screen time. As for the anti-hero, when you look at how when she was originally created, it was like pseudo-bondage time. I mean, the whole history of the creator of that guy, he was a polygamist and just all sorts of crazy stuff actually going on there.
Probably the best version of the story of his life and like the weird perverse tryst he had and everything that I've ever read was in the Grant Morrison book Super Gods. Grant Morrison, I think he was starting his Wonder Woman story, which still isn't out yet, as he was writing Super Gods, but he devoted a huge section to Wonder Woman, and specifically the creator, and talked about, how the character kind of became bland when they took all that stuff out, because that's kind of what made the character interesting and not just, a male hero of the time with long hair.
Yeah.
Maybe they should bring it back in, put it back into the story.
Are you going to hit us with creepy guy voice now, Dave? Hey, maybe they should.
I could. I could see Diana Prince, maybe dominating Bruce Wayne or something. That would be interesting. And they've been romantically linked before, although not now, obviously, because in the comics, Superman and Wonder Woman are dating now.
Yeah.
But, actually, the one thing that has me most worried about the movie is it was supposed to be a Man of Steel sequel, and Superman's my character, so obviously I want a big Superman movie. And the more they get into it, the more it sounds like it's going to be Justice League Part 0, Yeah. Kind of just setting that whole thing up, which is cool and all. But I just hope they don't lose focus on Cal, because, he's what I'm going to pay 4 times to see it for, so I hope he's well represented.
Okay, Bill, would you be happy if it was maybe 3/4 of the film was the main story of Superman, Lex Luthor, and then maybe the last quarter or 1/4 of it was the rest of them? Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, my ideal would be for, the main conflict to be, well, obviously first it's going to be Superman, Batman, and then them teaming up against Lex Luthor creating some huge threat, and then right at the end of the movie you get Wonder Woman showing up, you get Flash showing up, you get Green Lantern showing up, and, they basically, it's Darkseid, a boom tube opens up, to be continued in Justice League 2017 or whatever.
Maybe a huge, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger, thank you very much. Thank you. I know words. I know. Okay. So let's move on from the comic books to Star Trek. I know most of us are Star Trek fans. Bill, I don't know if you are. Are you?
My Star Trek foo is not great, unfortunately. Okay. I've watched some Next Generation and the movies.
Okay, well, speaking of Next Generation, Ron Moore, who's most famous for, of course, Battlestar Galactica, he got a start, well, not his start, but he did a lot of years with Star Trek. He was a writer, producer on Next Generation, on Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and I believe some Star Trek Enterprise as well. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that it's basically a crime that Star Trek is not on TV because the show was made for TV. The way they're doing it in the films are all these big action, the world is ending kind of stories, and Star Trek is really made for the kind of one-off, let's learn a lesson from what happened here kind of stories. So let's go around let's go through the panel here, and what do you guys think of this? Are you in favor of a Star Trek series back on TV? Matt number 1 or Matt number 2?
Well, I went to mute my microphone and it made me log back into Google, so now there's 2 of me.
Okay, nice.
Anyways,
yeah, what's your feeling?
I don't know. I watched Next Generation when I was a kid, mainly because my brother did, and I wanted to hang out with my older brother. And that's really it. I don't know a ton about it, other than what Reddit has shown me in Next Generation memes and stuff like that. But I mean, crap. If it's done kind of in the style of the last, I haven't seen the second reboot movie, but if it's done in the style of the first reboot movie, I would probably watch it again. Okay. And that's not saying a whole lot, because Next Generation to me is meh. I could take it or leave it. But
well, there's also been a couple of stories about 2 possible storylines for shows that have been proposed to CBS, and one of them is kind of like a hospital ship, and I believe the other is more like a CSI Starfleet. Both very interesting.
Both very played out, though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially, I think the whole crime scene thing. I think they'd be better off with like a hospital ship, and that's something they've never done before with Star Trek. It's always been an exploration ship, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, it's always been like the mission to catalog everything and meet up with everyone. But like I said, I'm kind of outside of it. But it seems like Star Trek is really a show about philosophy, not really about spaceships. It's more about kind of like presenting these moral quandaries and having the different character types come to a conclusion on them. And so I don't know. That doesn't seem like it would fit very well with a procedural, like a crime drama. Although if it was called CSI Starfleet and they had like crossovers with the other CSI shows, I totally watch just for the.
It kind of sounds like it's made up. That story's made up because it's CBS.
I call shenanigans on that. At the end, I mean, when you look at the history of Star Trek and what Gene Roddenberry did. Essentially, he was trying to do something subversive and talk about the problems and the issues that we face today, but disguising it in science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's
got
what
away
a lot
with.
of science fiction writers did, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to try to now switch to a procedural, no. I mean, that would get old fast.
Yeah.
I don't see that working. You'd have to go back to talking about issues and important things that I think to stay true to Star Trek to get the older folks like myself interested in it and to be a part of it. So,
but as well as we all know, they probably don't care about you watching that show. They want to aim towards the masses, so they're going to do whatever they need to do to get. You don't think so?
They will aim. Well, any smart show and Dave will back me up on this, especially in radio. You need to target this, especially a sci-fi show. You're going to target it 25, 54 male, most likely, or if they're going to do, depending on how they do it, they're going to target that age group female. It's all about money.
One Direction shows up on the Enterprise.
Oh,
See?
God.
And that's
Well, if they're going to aim it towards female, then they're probably going to go the route of the crime scene. Because they found that the CSI and crime shows are mostly watched by women than men. And so if they were going to go the women route, then they would end up going through the CSI Star Trek.
I have two issues. Well, I have a question and an issue. The question is, which universe do you set it in? If you set it in the Prime universe, then you've got all that backstory. You almost have to set it after all of the shows that have already been. If you set it in the reboot universe, then you can go anywhere. So,
I would think it would be done in the reboot, so that way you've got more room to play.
That would be the logical choice, but my experience with human beings is that everyone's kind of dumb. So they might set it in the Prime universe and just completely ruin it, and that's the way I see this going. No matter how badly I want it to be good, because it's a part of my childhood, someone quickly enough will ruin it and make me never ever want to watch it again.
I think the only way that you don't ruin it is you don't put it on network TV. You put it on either a cable channel like an AMC, or you go totally internet like Netflix. Or
straight to Netflix, yeah.
I think they should do, I don't know, like a contest or something where, because these people, all these people do these really like high-end Star Trek fan films and fan series and stuff. Have like a battle or like an American Idol for the next Star Trek show. Have everyone do a pilot, and then you vote on it and you pick the best one. Because I mean, this is a property that's been sustained by the fans for years and years and years.
Yep.
When the Paramount or whoever owns it now didn't care about it at all. Yep. And so I think giving them at least an idea of the direction, and then you bring in like you fill out the room with experienced television writers, you get a good cinematographer in there, all that kind of stuff. But I think that would be an interesting way to go about picking the next show. Would be to have every fan's big dream for Star Trek thrown up there on YouTube, and then everyone votes on it.
Well, there's a couple of really good web series. There's one that's in development right now that they're proposing to CBS later on this year with some big names, like the guy that played Tuvok. I forget his name right now, but Walter Koenig's in it. A couple of minor actors that played minor characters, and it looks really, really good. And it almost looks like the production quality is as good as it could be for TV or movie. What are you laughing at?
I just got a caught of the vampire.
We've got Edward in the background.
Yeah. Sparkle fairies.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see where that story goes. Hopefully, in a good place. I want to see Star Trek on a regular basis. I love Star Trek. So, Walking Dead mid-season premiere this Sunday. Are you guys excited? I know Bill is probably excited. It's filmed in your hometown.
It is. Well, yeah, not the hometown necessarily, but probably about 20 or 30 miles south of here. Like, the thing is, I don't know what it was. Like, the last season finale, last year's season finale, for some reason, it just, like, was so completely emotionally vacant to me that I've had a bit of a hard time hooking into this season. Now they're getting into the section of the comics, which is probably my second favorite section of the comics, when Rick and Carl leave the prison and go traveling the countryside and everything. So I'm gonna check back in. I'm hoping it hooks me again, but it's just like I don't know. It's just like I felt like I didn't care about anything the first half of the season at all. Almost like it was in a sort of status kind of thing. Probably because I'm a big fan of the comics too. So I had that expectation. Oh, the governor's gone. Then we should be away from the prison and going on to my favorite part of favorite storyline of the comic. But I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm not as excited as probably most other people are, though.
That mid-season cliffhanger was amazing. I thought that was even better than a lot of the season-ending episodes.
Yeah. Well, that was very much much closer to how everything went down in the comics with the big fight, Woodbury v. Prison. So it was good. It just I think it was the season as a whole kind of making me like eh.
It's interesting how they deviate from the comic, but then they come back around again.
Oh yeah.
They essentially make nods to the comic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I noticed when I first started watching The Walking Dead, was like the first episode was a lot like the comic, and then it started to diverge, and so I had to actually separate myself from the comic and the TV series, enjoy them as two separate entities. So
that's why
otherwise I would have criticized the entire show the entire time I was watching it. That didn't happen. Carl should have done that instead.
And I think that them making the spin-off series from The Walking Dead is a good thing, because there won't be any references to the comics. So the people that actually enjoy the comics can come back in and actually really enjoy the spin-off series.
Yeah, because that's going to be an anthology series, isn't it? Where it's basically going to be telling different stories within the universe.
I believe so, yeah.
That really excites me, because there aren't very many good anthology series these days, like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, stuff like that. So to get a really cool sci-fi horror-y kind of anthology series out there, I'd love, absolutely. But sorry, you were going to say something?
Me?
I don't remember what I was going to say.
Oh, no, Anessa.
Okay.
No, that happens to me all the time, so it's cool.
Brad, do you have any feedback or input on this?
Do you
even
watch the show?
What's that?
Do you watch the show?
No. I mean, I've read the first 3 omnibuses, but I haven't watched the show. So
Rick's daughter, what's her name?
Judith?
Judy?
Judith.
Yeah, Judith.
Little ass kicker or whatever it is.
Yeah, does she die in the spoiler alert, does she die in the comics?
Yes.
It's implied. I don't think it's shown on panel, but yeah, it's
it's
very
not shown
strongly
on
implied.
panel, but essentially, just to spoil everything, the scene where you have the prison versus Woodbury, the governor is like, kill everybody, and this lady shoots Lori, who's carrying the baby, because Lori's still alive at that point, and they go down, and that's pretty much the end of that character.
Yeah, Lori
including
falls
Judith.
right on the baby.
Onto the baby, so
Yeah.
you just assume that the baby's dead, because it's never mentioned at any other point in the comic, really.
I just had a realization about this podcast, about the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. Maybe we should make a set of rules, and the first rule is spoilers are allowed. And we should maybe read the rules at the start of each episode so the listener is prepared for things like spoilers. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think if we just say that, hey, we're getting ready to spoil something, the person can fumble and hit the pause button. So...
Yeah, just as long as you give just a little pause when you say Rosebud's a sled and Bruce Willis was alive, or dead rather.
Rosebud.
I can't believe you said that. Well, that's all. All right, so let's go from one post-apocalyptic story to a new one. It's a series from Chris Carter from X-Files fame called The After. Did you guys get a chance to see this clip? Or the
I
trailer?
did get a chance to see the clip.
Pretty enticing, eh?
I would have to see more, honestly.
It
because
reminds
there's a lot of the whole post-apocalyptic thing is really big right now, so it's like I have to see more to try to pull me in, just because there's so many different options, whether it's because of some sort of outbreak or zombie thing, aliens. I don't know, just post-apocalyptic is really big now.
I get what you're saying, and I wanted to say that this reminds me very much of Cloverfield, just by them not showing or not revealing anything, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just watching it now, but it kind of almost feels like like you said, there's a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff out there right now. Revolution 2 is one that I heard was just very disappointing.
It got bad and then it got good again. I actually left the series for a while and I came back. It's pretty good again, actually.
I always wanted to check it out just because it had a Giancarlo Esposito in it. He's like the main villain, isn't he? Gus from Breaking Bad.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm not a Breaking Bad person, so you guys will.
Oh, okay.
You guys have to fill in the gaps. Brad, Matt, and.
I don't know. I saw him riding a horse in a commercial for it, looking really mean. I figured he was the villain. I'm probably.
He probably is.
If he's the main villain, and I don't think it's the same guy I'm thinking of, because there was the villain from the first season, and that was the guy who played a doctor on ER. He's an Australian actor, I believe, but he plays an American in Revolution. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, this series looks pretty awesome, at least from the little bit they showed in this trailer, and I'm more excited because it's a Chris Carter joint.
Yeah, I would watch the pilot just to see how it is, simply because of Chris Carter. And I was really huge of the X-Files. So.
And this is Amazon Studios too, right? So this is for Amazon Prime Video.
Right.
They just, I will, just to slightly diverge. A guy that I've been, he's been kind of like not like a mentor as in I call him up to talk to him about my problems or something, but a mentor as in I look to him and take his advice to heart when it comes to crafting story for years, for probably 7 or 8 years now. David, and I know I'm not going to pronounce it wrong, Angzoris, I think. He has a pilot up on Amazon that just came out today called Gordimer Gibbon's Life on Normal Street. And it's basically a cross between Erie, Indiana, and The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Really, really good stuff. I highly recommend. Oh, you definitely.
That's totally up Brad's alley. Brad's into those kind of shows, right? Those kind of quirky, weird, like offbeat sort of stories.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Fringe and crap. No, I can't. What was the one with
With the
Pushing
place,
Up Daisies?
Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, Pushing Daisies.
You were a fan of Eureka too, right?
Yes, big
Eureka?
time.
Oh yeah, it's very much in the vein of those shows. If you ever saw Erie, Indiana on NBC back in the day, basically the structure was these two kids would find weird stuff going on in their town and go investigate it and never come up with a clear answer. Gordimer Gibbons' Life on Normal Street follows that same basic structure, but it's kind of wrapped in the kind of humor you saw on Pete and Pete, kind of like the quirky like kids walking around in beat shoes without socks and getting their shoes filled with sweat, and the little toddler brother always likes to stick stuff in his older brother's pocket. It's really good. I'm not doing it justice, but it just came out today.
We'll have to give that a look.
Are they doing that? Are they doing the whole watch the first episode free deal with that as well?
I think so. Right now, they haven't produced a whole series yet. They've just done the pilot. It was part of a. I don't know if you guys remember, like a year and a half ago, Amazon.
The competition, right?
Yeah, exactly. And David wrote the pilot for Gordimer, and submitted it, and they ended up making it. I mean, he's been living out in L.A. for years, trying to get something going on as far as his screenwriting. Mainly, he's just been doing teaching. But so he just submitted the script, and they liked it, and they made it, and hopefully, if enough people watch it and like it and rate it and fill out the survey, they'll make more of them. I hope they do, because it's really, really good.
I'm really sensing a theme to this podcast. It's like everything's going back to the whole competition, like vote for your favorite thing, because that's what they did with Amazon. They could do that with the Star Trek series. Let's just do
definitely.
it strictly for Star Trek on Amazon. I think that's brilliant.
I'll make a call to Jeff Bezos tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, 'cause you're best friends with him, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to go out and get drunk all the time back in the day. It was fun.
Good to know.
They're totes BFFs.
All right, so let's.
Matt's
got to get out of here, so let's do one more story real quick. I want to touch on this just briefly, and there are spoilers in this, so I know that you guys are all, except for maybe Matt, Doctor Who fans, right? You're all Doctor Who fans?
Yes.
Definitely.
For the audio listeners, they're all nodding their head. People, this is an audio podcast as well, so use your mouth and your voice to say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then for anyone listening, I have a blank stare on my face for a lot of this.
See, Matt's here for a reason. He is like the kid in the back of the room.
Thanks.
He's going to make fun of us nerds for all the nerds.
He's our cubby.
Yes.
I've been doing a lot more sci-fi stuff, but it's like reliving my childhood and sci-fi video games and things like that. So at some point, I'll pull those out of my back pocket and dazzle the audience.
And your knowledge of weird beers, too. That's
Weird beers and sports numbers.
Yes.
Yes.
48.
48.
Hut.
Oh.
So, spoilers for Doctor Who. It looks like one of the villains in an episode in Season 8 is going to be Jack the Ripper. Or at least we think so.
Ooh, see, I would watch that.
It's Go ahead, Bill.
Oh no, I was just going to say that sounds interesting. It's weird though, because I believe an episode of the old series did Jack the Ripper, and I know the IDW comics that have been coming out the past few years. I know they did a big Jack the Ripper story too, but it hasn't been approached in New Who before, so I say let them go for it.
Yeah, in the picture they showed in this article, it's not a normal Jack the Ripper. He looks like a cyborg. He's got some mechanical pieces on him. So
Yeah, and it looks like they have tracking markers on his top hat there too, so there's probably something going on there. Maybe they're going to give him a fake head or something like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we might be getting an origin story for Jack the Ripper. He wasn't human after all, you know?
He really was a monster.
Yeah.
And then his parents died in Crime Alley, and he went in a completely different direction than Batman.
So I think, Brad, you got to get out of here pretty soon, right?
The other show starts at 9:30 in about 8 minutes. So.
Okay. All right. So we'll try to wrap it up here. Are you guys really as mad as I am for having to wait for so long for new Doctor Who? Is it driving you crazy as much as it's driving me crazy?
Honestly, there's so much stuff that I have to watch between now and the new episodes of Doctor Who that I'm not like angered by it. So, I mean, I've started watching Arrow, so I'm on the first season of Arrow. I recently discovered and got Brad into Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries.
Miss what's her name?
Yeah, Miss What's Her Name. And that is, it's totally not sci-fi, but it's basically a detective show. Kind of makes me think a little bit of Sherlock Holmes and the attitude, but Miss Fisher is a flapper chick in the 1920s solving crimes.
Nice.
It's an Australian show, and I recommend it. And I ended up getting into the following, so I'm on season 1 of that, and then just catching up on other shows that people have told me that I need to watch. So I have so much on my list of things to watch to take up the time between now and Doctor Who.
Yeah, there's really no lack of stuff that you can take into your senses these days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know I'm a little disappointed that we have to wait so long, but I'm really glad that they're not going to be taking, a big break and splitting it out into 2 8-episode half seasons or whatever. They're just going to go straight through up through the Christmas special, which I'm really excited about because, with the shortened seasons, it always felt like when it was starting to get good, oh, okay, now you have to wait 3 or 4 months. So, I'd rather have a longer wait and then just 4 months of my life dedicated to Who. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
It's driving me nuts. I'm not. I'm not all that happy about having to wait, but no, if they're going to take the time to write, and those two guys just finished up Sherlock, and all sorts of stuff going on. So I'm sure that they've got plenty of things to do, so it'd be nice to make sure that they've got enough time to focus and not just pump out garbage for a season of Doctor Who. So yeah,
especially with the new Doctor too.
Yeah.
So they have to work on building his character again and getting everyone used to this rebel Doctor.
Defining his Doctor, because actually before Day of the Doctor, I went back and watched Matt Smith's run for the most part. And that first season was very much kind of defining him. Like if you sit down and watch the first episode and then The Big Bang, the last episode, you can definitely see they found what worked with him and they really focused in on those strengths. And
there he is.
Crap, Dave's back.
I'm back. Sorry.
I mean, boo!
I knew if we did a little soft shoe, you'd get your back.
There's going to be like a minute worth of material that Dave has no idea what happened.
He's just gonna have to go through the YouTube video.
He's going to have to watch it.
And that's when I took my pants off. Oh, hey, Dave, good to see you.
Wait, we were supposed to wear pants?
I can't believe You know, guys.
Well played, Bill. Well played.
Can't believe I ate the whole thing.
That's what okay.
That was
Hey.
impressive.
Almost got you to spit liquid through your nose, dude. Yes.
Good thing it was water and not sweet, precious beer.
Yeah.
That would have been uncomfortable.
Oh, that would have hurt so bad.
You would have driven up here and kicked my behind for wasting all that beer.
I would have went to bed and kicked your butt next time I saw you. Just write it. Just a little mental note.
Mental note. That's right. Yeah, you come over for lunch. It's cool.
Dave, you might be muted.
Butt kickery. We can't hear you, Dave.
Oh, this is like the greatest 5 minutes of my life. Can't hear Dave. Dave's not around.
It's good to be the Emperor.
Yeah, this must be what world is like without police.
No sound.
No sound.
Got nothing, Dave.
Nope.
What are you saying, asshole?
He might be. I gotta make him.
That's what it looks like.
Dave, if you know sign language. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
All right. So Bill was talking about Doctor Who.
We finished it a long time ago. I don't know where you were.
Doctor Who's awesome. I want a TARDIS, a working TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that if you guys don't have anything else you want to add, that's going to be it for this first episode of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. And you can learn more about our show and the other shows on the Galactic Netcast Network by going to galacticnetcasts.com. And then what you do is you put a / on there and you add subscribe, and then you can subscribe to the podcast, or you can do it by going to iTunes. Also, leave us feedback by calling our voicemail number. It's 805-328-3966 or galacticnetcast@gmail.com. You can also search for us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. All right, Bill, thank you very much for being our guest geek on this first episode.
Thank you. I had a great time. You guys were awesome, except for when you wouldn't let me talk. No, I'm kidding. I talked way too much.
Except for when you guys cut me off.
You didn't talk enough, Bill.
Bill made up for the fact that a lot of this topic or these topics were just completely over my head.
I will strive to find stories that you will actually have input on there, Matt.
Oh no! I know I had every ability to put stories in here too, so it's as much my fault as it is yours. And I can see Bill is shamelessly plugging his books right now, so I'll stop talking and let him do that.
I'm just reading right now. Although I did get these at dogboyadventures.com or the new one at bit.ly/libertypier.
Oh,
I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but
Why not? You have the opportunity.
No, I was going to ask you where people can find your fine books, and you answered my question. So there you go.
Exactly.
All right, you're also at Mixed Media or mixmixmedia.com, right?
Yeah, meeksmixmedia.com, Twitter @BillMeeks, and Google Plus is google.com/+BillMeeks.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Anessa. And meeting adjourned. This has been the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. Talk to you next week.
Musketeer.
Thanks, Dad.
And there it is.